Hey everyone, I've been a bit ill this week, but as happens when you're lying in bed a lot, I've been reading lots of social media. Isn't always very healthy, but Maths Twitter is full of nice animations and visualizations, and that's great. It's definitely what I enjoy looking at sometimes, and one of the ones that turned up yesterday I particularly enjoyed, although have some weird reactions to it. It's this one, posted by Math Lady Hazel, who regularly posts lovely animations. Actually, she's posted this from Reddit from someone else who I like. 4 years ago, there was apparently self-made by that person, inspired by Woojek Greg. I'll put the links to the originals. But Math Lady Hazel pointed out that this is somehow exemplifying the pure beauty of the golden ratio, and that the diameter of each circle that's spinning around here is 1.61803 times bigger than its inner circle, which is an approximation to the golden ratio, sure. And it's a very pretty animation, but I'm weirdly conflicted because the golden ratio is a brilliant, beautiful mathematical number. The most irrational number is really important in many ways, but there's a lot of rubbish talked about it too. And I think this diagram, however nice it is, wouldn't look very different if the ratios of the diameters were not the golden ratio. And I said so on Twitter. And then maybe I thought that maybe I shouldn't just say so, I should check. So I'm going to try and do a quick live build to generate this file, which I'm beginning to feel a bit daunted about because I'm not sure it's going to be as easy as I hoped at first, but we'll have a try. Okay, so I have a fresh GeoGebra window. I'm going to work in GeoGebra Classic 5, and I don't know how I'm going to build this. Let's just start by making a circle. Centered on the origin. I think there's a built-in O for the origin in GeoGebra. If you just use something referring to capital O, it will know it means the origin, and it will make a point radius 1. There we go. In fact, if I turn on the auxiliary objects, you can see that nothing's happened. Weird. That point is O, but it hasn't been printed. I don't need it to print anyway. So there's my first circle. I feel like having defined that, I'm going to work inwards. There's a question here, maybe it would be easier to work outwards, then the ratios of the diameters will just scale by this golden ratio or whatever ratio I choose to change it to. But the motion of the inner circle, however deep you go down here, is the most complicated. So I feel I'm going to work from the simplest motion, which is the outer circle, which is doing nothing, inwards. But I'm just thinking out loud here rather than doing anything particularly pre-planned. So first of all, let's make a couple of sliders. So I think we're going to need a slider for the number of iterations in we go. So let's just make that an integer, and let's say it goes up to 30. Won't do anything with that just yet. Let's make a slider R for the ratio of the diameters. I'm going to get confused with radius, am I? Let's call it diameter ratio, and we'll let it go between 1 and 3. So they quoted it as being the golden ratio, but if we're working inwards, it's going to be 1 over that. However, let's just go with that, and we can set this to be the golden ratio to start with. Let it go up in small increments. So let's set that to be what, 1.618 or 662 for now. And I'm going to use that to build the next circle. So glimpsing back to the original diagram here, the first circle moves around 1 revolution, and the one inside that moves around 2 revolutions in the time it takes the outer one to do 1. And I think that's another arbitrary decision here, is like how much quicker should the inner circles go than the previous one. And that doesn't seem to be to do with the golden ratio, but it looks like every step they're doing another rotation in the same time. So first of all, I'm not even sure where to begin here. Let's try and make the original, the first inner circle. And to do that, let's make a new circle. The trouble is, to define circles, you need to know the centers of the circles, or at least that's the easiest way to define a circle, and they're not visible on the original diagram. But let's do a circle which is the correct ratio inside. So circle centered on the origin. I'm going to try and do one at a time, and then maybe build this up as a sequence, or possibly use the spreadsheet to generate each one. But let's just do one to start with. And this is going to be the original radius, which is 1, divided by the dr. And so that circle, I believe, that I've just made is the golden ratio of the original. So the inner circle times by the golden ratio should get me the outer circle in terms of diameter. But that's not the one that moves around in the original. Actually, where would it be? The center of that circle. No, let me have a think now. So that's the correct ratio now. But I want it to be touching the outer circle. So maybe actually I want a circle which is... How far away is it from the middle? Well, the radius... We need to move this circle around on a circle. Move the center of the circle around on a circle which is 1 minus its radius from the edge. Why can't I get my head around this? So, well, let's try and define a circle which is 1 minus that radius. So the radius of that, radius of D, I want 1 minus that. What's that number? That's the same as I've just calculated. Is that a fluke? No. Yeah. Well, hold on a minute. That feels like it was something special to do with the golden ratio. Okay. These two numbers are the same because I'm at the golden ratio. Okay. Suddenly I'm interested. Maybe this is to do with the golden ratio. Okay. Let's keep going. This is going to be great if I'm proved wrong that the golden ratio does matter. Still haven't got my head around how to plot this circle. So as it moves around, it needs to be 1 minus its radius from that edge, which means it is actually the golden ratio. Sorry, it's actually the radius from there. So what am I saying? Am I saying if I put a point there with a circle, radius 1 over dr. No, that doesn't touch. So it's got to move around like that, but I've not got this circle in the right place. I think what I need is is 1 minus that radius, which is ridiculous because that's just going to be just the radius. So let's plot a circle on there with radius little a that I've just defined. That doesn't work either. Why am I confused here? So this point is not right. I need to get a circle. This feels like should be the easy part, but once I've got this, everything else is going to maybe collapse. So I want it to move around. I want the radius of this circle. I just need to draw this. What we're missing here is some scribblings. So I'm going to find a pen. I'm going to try and draw it electronically so you can see this, which shouldn't be too hard. Give me a moment here. Looks like I've booted up a OneNote file. Let's get a new page. So I've got a circle. That's radius 1. And I want another circle, say touching here, which has a center here, and this radius is r divided by the golden ratio. And I want to find out what that place is, so I need that distance there. So r over theta, or phi, plus x equals r. Well, that can't be that hard. So x equals r 1 minus 1 over phi. Okay, let's sort that out then. So let's get a circle, center O, radius 1 minus 1 over dr. That's more like it. And then if we put a circle on there, radius 1 over dr, then that touches. Okay, so that's my first circle that moves around. And then the next one I need to do inside that. So a circle centered on A now. That's the point I've just arbitrarily made. 1 minus, sorry, the previous radius, which was, let's just refer back to it, radius of E times 1 minus 1 over dr. Is that right? And that's not the one that moves. I want to center on that. With the radius of E divided by dr. Right, and that, so these aren't moving correctly, but they are the right radii. And I feel like I could build that in a sequence or a spreadsheet, because all I need to do now is make these points move at the correct speed. There's a bunch too many 1 minuses for my liking. And does this work if I change this? Yeah, well, that's still working. These things are still touching. And I got to hide things like this circle. No, that one's fine. This circle. And this circle. So these are the circles I want to have visible in the last thing. And there could be any sort of ratio. Okay, with that in mind, let's try and build this. Because they're kind of self-referential, I feel like a spreadsheet is going to be the way forward. Maybe there's a sequence way of doing it, which is always going to be neater, but let's just start with this. So the original circle is, it was called C. Let's make that visible. And then the next circle I made, well, let's try and make this left column the circles that I want to see. But the circle I had to build, which was called D, and so maybe I need the centers. Yeah, right, let's get the center of that circle. So that's going to be O. And let's get the radius of that circle. There. And the new locus of the center was the old radius, so C1 times 1 minus 1 over dr, the ratio. So that's the new radius. And so I'll make a new circle at that radius. Circle center B1 with a radius of D1. I think that was right. So then I think I can get the next line. So what I'm also going to need is a slider which is kind of the time slider, let's call it T, to govern the rotation. I'll let this go up between 0 and 1. So 1 will be 1 full rotation. Let's just start at 0. Still feeling my way a little bit here. So the new circle is going to be I wonder if I should just get all the radii first. So that's the locus of the center of the next circle. And if I just do the next thing, so then the next one is going to be a circle I want to see, but I haven't yet defined how to move it around there. But the center of it is going to be a point on this new circle. So let's just do that. That's going to be a point on E1. Now this point command I've just started typing, you can get GeoGebra to it's made a point on it. You can have a parameter in there which tells you how far around to rotate it. So if I just put 0.5 in there, if I put 1 in there, it will make a different point. So it goes between 0 and 1. Looks like it, I don't know which way it goes. If I put a parameter of 0.25 in there, yeah, it looks like it's going anti-clockwise from the left. That's strange. But I could make that depend on t, and then that point would move around. Okay, well that's promising. I'm not sure if I've got that scaling right, but then the circle I really want here is going to be a circle centered on that point with radius C1 over dr. And there it is. And so as t changes, that moves around. And maybe we're going to start on the left here, that's fine. And actually that's doing what I want, one rotation. So actually maybe I just need to have another column in here, which has got the number 2 in it. And we'll just have this increasing by 1. And this is going to be like the number of rotations to make within the time. Let's just go up to that. Might not need this n parameter after all. I feel like we're making some progress. So let's just copy some formulae down now. What have we got? That one is just the radius of that circle. What's this? The radius of the next circle. So let's copy that down. Copy that down. Oh, didn't want to paste that. I wanted to copy. Copy, paste. All right. So I've got a bunch. I'm going to hide a bunch of stuff here now. All these ones I built earlier. Let's just get rid of them. And while I remember the parameter in here, let's just do that times the number I've made in column A, A2. I wonder if I can just copy all this down. So the nice thing about once you've done one line of a spreadsheet, you can copy it down and just see if this works. Boom. And I wonder if this moves at the right speed. Something weird happened there. Why is that? Okay, so what happened here? T times A3. Oh, is that actually, do I want it A to be A1 and therefore that to be A2? Let's try it. Why does it stop after that? Oh yeah, because it's the parameter only goes between 0 and 1. Okay. So it's the... I always get confused about div and mod. Div, mod. I want the remainder. Or the non-integer part. The floor? No. Let's try it. Mod 3.14. What does that do? Is it 3.14 minus floor of 3. There's got to be a better function for that. That's what I want. Okay. Get something that works. So I want t minus a1 minus the floor of t times a1. Copy that down. I wonder if that works now. I think that is working. And I don't want to see these circles. Let's just hide them. Right, I think, more by luck than judgment, I've got something that works. I can just keep pasting down. It's looking promising. I don't want to see these points probably, so let's not show them. I don't want the labels, let's just get rid of them. I do want this to animate. Okay, I think that's doing what we were after all along. I noticed that the ratio isn't the golden ratio at the moment, but it's still nice. Let's prettify it up a bit. Hide the spreadsheet for now. So I didn't need n, let's just get rid of n. If I was going to use a sequence to define this, then n might control how the depth it goes, but I'll just use a spreadsheet. So, and we could go further, but I think that's enough. Let's hide the origin. O is not is O an auxiliary object these days? Quite often when you can't find the object, just sort it by type. I've got a lot of conics going on, a lot of numbers, and the point O which I want to hide. Let's get rid of the axes and the grid. And you know what? Let's copy the original and make the whole thing black. So graphics. Background color, make it really dark grey for now. And let's make all these circles I've just built white. Yeah. And as a reminder, the sliders that we've got, these numbers, so DR, I need to make that visible. That needs to be white. And that's really what matters here. T is controlling the animation, so let's see if we can make that as smooth as possible. Let's go, and it's probably about right. There we go. I don't want it to oscillate T, let's just keep it increasing. It's going the wrong way. Change this to be negative, the whole thing. Should just go the other way and copy that down. Animate T again. I've killed it. Why have I killed it? Oh, it's gone negative. Okay. Why has that not worked? When you do the floor of a negative number, do you just go to the next negative? Huh. Oh, the parameter can't be negative. Okay. Let's make that positive again and fix it another way. Maybe I do need T to be visible here. And animate it again. Right, it's doing the right thing. I just want it to go the other way around. I mean, I could make T go between 0 and 1. Sorry, I can make it decreasing. There we go. That's fine. And it's not quite the same because it's all sort of centered on the left-hand side. But the whole point of this is that I didn't need to have the golden ratio there. So if I made the ratio really big, each circle is twice as big as the other one. And it's still nice, but if I made the circle like only just a bit smaller as we go in, and now it's a good case for copying this all down a bit further and get some more iterations. That's nice too, but it's nothing to do with the golden ratio. It's making some lovely spirals. Are they logarithmic spirals? Are they Euler spirals? I have to go and look up the different Fermat spirals. There's all sorts of nicer spirals, but this is one of the problems I have with the golden ratio chat, is that people see pretty patterns and assume the golden ratio is defining that, when actually it's just the maths and the spirals that are defining it, and other spirals are available other than the golden spiral. So if we make this back to the golden ratio, or approximately that, then we've got exactly the same diagram as Maths Lady Hazel posted, but it's no different from if this was, not really any different from if this was like 1.7, which is not the golden ratio, but just as cool a diagram. Right, so maybe I'll do some more prettification, but the end of my live build is here, and I'm going to turn this into a little animation to try and prove my point on Twitter that while it's a beautiful animation and I support beautiful maths animations, we should be careful about claiming the golden ratio has more to do with it than we actually realise. And thanks for watching. See you next time.